So I designed a psychosocial approach to be used by healthcare providers to improve patient adherence. And we call that the BRENDA approach. And it's basically, a lot of it is sort of ripped off from motivational interviewing. But when I went to Bill Miller and I said, let's design a manual that we can train doctors, nurse practitioners, and people who are not experts in addiction to use to help increase adherence with taking the Naltrexone. And he said, oh, you can't do that. You need to have a PhD and specialized training. So I wrote my own manual. We called it the BRENDA approach. And I think Bill Miller even wrote the intro for that. And he says, this is good, but it's not motivational interviewing, but whatever. And basically it takes many of those concepts in which you work, where you, number one, first get the data for what's happening with the person. I call it biopsychosocial perspective assessment. Find out how the alcohol is affecting people. And then you give people a report. You give them feedback and say, your drinking seems to be related to increase in liver enzymes. I notice what you say is on Mondays when you show up for work, you have hangovers and then you don't do as well at work. And it's presented in a very non-judgmental way. Not you shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that, but you just say, here's the facts. And you present the facts in a very empathetic way to understand that some people are not going to be interested in hearing how their alcohol drinking is causing their wife to be upset with them.
Yeah.
But you find out what is something that they're interested in. So they might be concerned about the fact that, oh, my liver enzymes are elevated. That I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the work situation of the wife, but I'm worried about the liver enzymes. And then, so that's the E part of BRENDA, BRE. And then the N part of BRENDA is you assess what the patient's needs are. What do they want to change? So often when patients would come in and say, you have an alcohol use disorder, you need to do X, Y, and Z. And if you just start out with that, the patient say, no, I don't. And they don't come back. But when you work collaboratively with people to say, what do you want to accomplish here? Why would you want to do something about your drinking? Then people say, this is the reason why.